Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schleck. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Monday is my good friend, Michele Berra. Michele, what's up?
Well, I'm ready to be on the Twitter, Mickey, you were drunk kind of things. Tonight. Because I have the takes.
I am too. So we're going to do a 2020 redraft, which is, as I'm going through it, I'm like thinking this is far too soon because we just know nothing.
Yeah.
We have this shortened COVID season. We've got, there's going to be some outliers in here. There's going to be some guys that we have way too high. There's going to be some guys we have way too low. In 3 years, if we go back and listen to this podcast, I expect to be embarrassed. That's my expectation, is that I will have some embarrassing takes on this show.
Do you really expect to go back and listen to this podcast 3 years from now?
I expect.
Should we go back and listen to all our redrafts?
Hey, listeners, set a reminder in your phone 3 years from now to send me a tweet to listen to the show.
Yeah,
and that's
or just comment.
That's how it will get done. That's how it will get done.
Or you can just do the job and tell us how much we were wrong doing redrafts. That works as well.
Yeah, that works. A little bit of Thunder news. Josh Hall was waived yesterday by the Thunder. Two-way player. So, you expect a team like the Thunder to cycle through these guys. And
yes.
There's not a current player signed to a contract. Now, there is a report coming from somebody that I hadn't ever heard of before at Kelsey_lately. Tweeted yesterday that Paul Watson Jr. has signed a two-way contract with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, Thunder Twitter got a little upset because this tweet happened prior to the Thunder announcing that they'd waived Josh Hall. And so people are like, well, she's wrong. Fake news. And then that happens. And now everybody just assumes like, oh my gosh, obviously Paul Watson Jr. is a Thunder player. That may be true. I don't have confirmation on that. But, if it is true, Paul Watson is at least kind of an interesting role player. He's a small forward. He's 6'6". He's 26 years old.
He's Jeremy Grant's age.
Yeah. He will be 27 in December. So interesting. He's a shooter, and that's really about it. So if you told me that we were signing a shooter, I would say cool. And so to this, I would say cool.
Yeah, and again, with two ways, it's probably playing the G League, and if you're like just called up, you fill your role and you try to play at your best. And having a shooter, which probably can play in the flow of the game, in the system that OKC wants to run, then it's okay. It's not that you can waste two-way deals like they are nothing, but there's just so many of them that you can legitimately expect to work out for young players. And so it makes sense to say, well, this guy is interesting, is in the system. He was already in the G League, previously in Europe. He played for an organization that has a sort of system and has stability. So why not try him out? Like, again, there are some projects like the Kenrich Williams one where age is not the only factor. And those projects can work anyway. So let's see.
Yeah. And just finding a 3-and-D player, great. Not only can you use them on your team, but they have value on the market. So that's what this is about, if indeed it does happen. Now, there's no official signing. There's no official report. So take it for what you will. So let's take a look at the 2020 NBA draft. It is such a difficult class to evaluate, especially from this standpoint where we've had a year. We've had, you have players in here like Denny Avdia, where it's like, what in the world do I do with Denny Avdia? Where do I put him? I just have to rely on what I looked at draft time. James Wiseman, another one where it's like, what in the world do you do with James Wiseman? And then, so you have kind of these like higher profile guys, and then you have like this clump of players where they're just kind of like they're all role players. They're all guys that played minutes this past year and trying to figure out like which one is 12 and which one is 17. And if there's really a difference between the two, the answer is probably not. And some of these guys are going to pop. Some of these guys are going to fade out of the league entirely that are in our top 20. Like that's just the nature of this. That rookie seasons are often not the best indicators of what's going to happen later on in their career. So we're kind of both doing, and our evaluations are both different, but we're both taking what we learned from the draft plus what we learned from last year. You're using more of a stats-based approach.
Yes.
And then we're throwing out whatever we got. That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, just to add a few words on it's not even a model. It's almost offensive to say model, but I basically took some of the stats that I think are relevant, like points, 3-point attempts, points per drive, points per pull-up, assists, true shooting, usage, and also some defensive stats that can tell me like how much creation or how much defensive impact. Of course, quote unquote, because defensive impact is really tough to navigate with standard stats. And I just put them together, and this is how I create the stat rank. That basically I used it for two reasons, like bumping up players that are very productive and that I was high on in the draft. Like Sadiq Bey is one of them. I remember we had him pretty higher than where it went in our pre-draft analysis, and so he produced. I think he's a good player, and so I bumped him up. And or I just use it to kill some player, because at least to some degree you have to get production. And so if you are very low, like extremely low, and you were a very, very productive player in college, then and production was your calling card, then I kind of bumped those players down a bit.
Yeah.
And then there's Cole Anthony, which I bumped down because I hate him, but that's another story.
I know. To be honest, I don't have Cole on my list at all. But
wow.
I've only done 20 players, and then I told you I had 21 players, and then I'm really spitballing, and he's a part of my spitball if we get that far. So
okay.
I figured we'd at least go through top 20, and then
let's do that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where we're gonna be. So okay, number one pick. I'm gonna give you the number one pick, and then we will just snake draft through the top 20. So who is your number one pick in the 2020 NBA redraft?
Well, to me, it's not as easy as it sounds, but to me, it's LaMelo Ball. And I was very high on him during the draft process. To me, it was the best talent in the draft. And even if Edwards had a much, much better season than the one that I had in mind when we first evaluated him, I think that LaMelo still has the best outlook in terms of future, in terms of over the next 2-3 years. He's also first in my stat profile by quite a good margin because of the shot creation and because of the fact that he's a great rebounder for his size, and he's fun. I mean, and his team plays extremely well. So to me, even if, again, at the beginning of the year, I thought that LaMelo was so much better than anyone else, I think that Anthony Edwards had a great season. But between the two, I went with LaMelo, and I'm pretty confident that is a good choice.
Yeah, agreed. So I actually found our big boards from the draft, pre-draft.
Wow.
So we have those cemented here. Do you want to hear top fives from each of us?
Yes.
So your top five was LaMelo, James Wiseman, Okoro, Anthony Edwards, Okongwu.
That's so bad.
Mine is Ball, Edwards, Okoro, Halliburton, Okongwu.
Yours is so much better.
It's still not good, but it's
better.
Good.
You hit 3 out of 5. That is very good.
Yeah, I was very high on Tyrese Halliburton and still am. And for the number 2 pick, I considered him. But I still think you have to go Edwards. So,
Yes.
like statistically, you look at the second half of his season and he was legitimately very good. Very, very good. Yeah, Hoops Talk is talking about my eyes. Dude, I am struggling with my allergies all day. So my eyes are watering, my nose is running. I just have horrific grass allergies, and the grass is going nuts right now at my place. So that's where I'm at if you're watching on the stream. So I'm literally just struggling through this as I have throughout this entire day. So anyhow, Anthony Edwards, great for Minnesota. And also just personality wise, like the best guy in the draft. So I love him as a downhill creator. He can get his own bucket. And if he is indeed taller, if he is 6'6", then he maybe should be considered to be the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not. I talked to John Krasinski last week about him, and he said he doesn't know. But Edwards is really interesting, and it's not a complete embarrassment that he was selected first in this draft.
No, to me, no.
What is a complete embarrassment is that the Warriors took Wiseman at 2. Like that should be, they should be killed more for that. And now they get to hide behind the mystery of James Wiseman to a degree at this point.
It's early.
Huh?
It's very early.
It is very early. It's very early, but the NBA is all about, a lot of it's about creation from every spot, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have any confidence that Wiseman's going to be a creator at the NBA level.
Me neither. But to me, this is why you'll see that I don't have Wiseman too far behind. And to be honest, I'm struggling even with having him that low. The DeAndre Ayton tale is still fresh in my mind. He was so bad year 1, like so bad, embarrassing. And everyone killed the Suns as much as the Kings. And then in 3 years, you say, well, the pick was bad, but not that bad.
Because they didn't take a player that had the creation skills.
Yes. And this is true. I mean, I struggled a lot with Edwards' creation skills, though. He's surprising me quite a lot with the fact that he's able. I mean, he's still pretty inefficient. Not Poku level inefficiency, but still pretty inefficient. But he played so much better than I anticipated, and I got it wrong. But since you mentioned Tyrese, I have him third, and to me there is no real doubt about that. Tyrese is third also in my stat rank. 1, 2, and 3 are basically my stat rank. They were so much better than all the other guys.
Definitely.
And yeah, so I mean, to me, the Kings made a home run pick, and a lot of other teams, like Detroit, like Phoenix, like even New York. Like I get what the Hawks did. I get what, like I get the Chicago pick, but after that, I mean, Tyrese was. It's all bad.
It's all really bad.
It's all really.
It's all bad.
Even Cleveland, you can say okay with Okoro, I think, at the time.
Yes. I said that at the time, but once you get to the Hawks, it's like, okay, guys, what's going on here? And having
but we love the Okongwu. Like
we did love Okongwu.
Yeah.
Yes, but also I kind of expected Halliburton to be taken higher than that too.
Oh yeah.
Like the Pistons screwed up big time.
Yes.
And the Knicks and the Wizards and the Suns and the Spurs.
Oh boy, the Suns. The Suns is just.
It's inexcusable.
Yeah.
It's inexcusable.
Yeah.
And like if you're the Spurs and like, oh, we already have all these guards. Like, sorry, Halliburton's better than all of them. So
most likely.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, Halliburton is the best in terms of pull-up creation, and also very good in in, let me see, drives, and he's very good in assists, and he's okay in some defensive metric. So steals, stuff like that. So he's really, really good.
Yeah, he's great. So number 4, this is I was playing a game in my head. Was like, when was the first time that I really thought of taking Poku? Like, what was the slot? And I would say this is the slot that I first
really
thought about taking him, because of creation skills. Would be like the number one reason. It's like, okay, who left can create?
Yeah.
And the list is tiny.
Yeah, if you exclude Cole Anthony, then yes, it's very tiny.
He is excluded beyond belief. So
he's 4th in my stat rank. Yes.
Just because he took shots. Like
The thing
about this draft class is no one really took a lot of shots.
Yeah.
Like besides the top 3 guys that we just discussed, then it drops off a cliff as to who took shots.
Yeah.
So we don't know. That's why we largely just don't know with this class who is who.
Spoiler: I don't have Cole Anthony soon, so don't worry. I'm not mad. I'm not crazy, but yeah.
I could easily kick you off of this stream. It would not be that difficult. Just a click.
Thank you.
Of the mouse.
Well, is this democracy where like only you can have like bad opinions? Like I can have bad opinions. Like
not about Cole Anthony. No.
Okay.
And especially not you. If it was somebody else, it's fine, but not you. Yeah. Especially not you.
So Poku at number 4. No, I'm a little bit far back, but go on.
I'm just saying this is where I first thought about him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, to me it's a little bit later.
Yeah, I would not take him. This is where I have Patrick Williams.
Yeah, me too.
Man, we're just right step by step here. LaMelo, Edwards, Halliburton, Patrick Williams.
We are boring.
It is quite boring. Hopefully we get interesting here in a little bit. He happened to go number 4 in the draft. A 6'8", versatile wing. He plays the 3 and the 4. He profiles as a really good defender. He has some creation skills that have yet to be developed, but he was also one of the younger guys in the draft. He and Edwards are the same age. He's younger than James Wiseman, younger than Okoro, younger than Okongwu. He's a very, very young player that's still developing, and to me, he's the key to unlocking what the Bulls have. They got all these free agents, great. But if Patrick Williams can take another step in his second year, then you got it. Like then you have an actual team. So I'm a fan of him. I just like high upside wings. I mean, aside from like creation that I can see from day one, I want to see high upside wings, and that's where I have Patrick Williams. He's above the rest. He's really one of the only high upside wings in this draft. I mean, you could even say that he is like the only one, and like whatever you call Poku. Like Poku is a. If I were to use Sam Presti's words, I would say he's a basketball player. So I don't know what position he is, but Patrick Williams, I think, deserves to be here. And like kudos to the Bulls for taking him as high as they did, because even on draft night, people were like, "Oh, that's a little high for Patrick Williams," and it was the right pick.
It was so much better than all the picks that like every team besides the Kings made. So
or the Hornets.
Well, the Hornets were ahead. I thought about like all the remaining team, but behind.
Yeah, that's right.
So number 5 is where we finally disagree, because this is where I think you can start discussing Poku, but I have him like lower, few spots. And I thought, well, Wiseman went number 2 in the draft, and I'm not ready to say that I would comfortably pick anyone else before him. Maybe Pokuševski. Not others that I have between him and Pokuševski, because I mean I want upside there, and then I said, well, he still has a ton of defensive upside, and last year was was a dysfunctional year, and maybe he'll have to change team before he blossoms. But I'm willing to give him another year. He was, to me, one of the best upside guy in the draft, and maybe he will be the next Marvin Bagley, where he will never develop into anything. That is a possibility. But I think that if a general manager has the chance to redraft, I don't think he slides too much, to be honest with you.
Probably not. I think that's true. The Warriors still maintain that they did the right thing with him, and they use all sorts of comps for him to make things feel better.
Yeah.
And he had a rough rookie season when he did play.
Yes.
They were much better without him, and they did not have a suitable replacement for him.
Yeah.
He's got lots of different skills. He's very athletic. He's obviously got tremendous size. He theoretically can shoot it, but did not show any consistency with that. But he's still very young, so it's hard to say. I'm with you that the Warriors are kind of a tough fit for him because that big spot has never been a rim diving big man, right?
Yeah.
That's never been what they have wanted or how their offense operates. So it's a curious pick in that case. And I wouldn't ever say like, oh, like call it now. Like he is Marvin Bagley 2.0.
No.
I don't think he is, but he's still very much a mystery man. And there's a lot of mystery men in this draft. To be fair, like I have him 6th on my list. So it's not like I have him like crazy low on my list. And I'm going to take Poku next, by the way. And
number 5.
At number 6. You took Wiseman at 5.
Yeah. But who's your? He was
Poku's
5.
Number 5. Yeah. Poku's number 5.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's because of the shot creation ability.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of the high upside that exists with him. That doesn't really exist with many other guys in this draft class. Now, if I were doing a draft based on a certainty of like being able to contribute on a championship level roster, I might have Poku down in like the teens,
Yes.
But for this exercise, it's about upside, right? It's about like what can you do with that pick? And I feel like it's not easy to get guys like Sadiq Bey or Jane McDaniels or Kongwu or Isaiah Stewart. Like it's not easy to get those guys, but it's a heck of a lot easier to get those guys than it is to go get a high upside player like Poku who can play between the 3 and the 4 whenever he's fully developed. I think he will shoot it. He sees the floor in a way that most players don't. He has a handle for a 7-footer that like very few 7-footers have. And I just think the upside there is crazy. I think that it really is insane, and it may take a while for him to realize it, or he may never realize it. That's certainly possible. But if I'm picking at 5 and I want to take a swing on a player, I mean, he's the biggest swing left in the draft, in my opinion. Even more of a swing than Wiseman, because Wiseman, even Ayton, like he tops out at some level, and you need a good guard creator at some level with him for him to be productive. Like you can't just have him. Like he's not Joel Embiid, and Wiseman is not Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic or any of these like top tier centers. Like I don't see Wiseman being that. And I also worry a little bit like the type of player that Wiseman is, because he has such tremendous potential, because he is the guy that he is. Like, do you want to pay a non-top 5 center a max contract at the end of his rookie scales deal? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know that I would, but would I want to pay a wing creator that? Like,
maybe.
Probably so. Like, I'd much rather pay Patrick Williams at the end of his rookie scale deal.
You know what?
Than
You
Wiseman.
sold me. You sold me on Poku being a little bit higher. I even
Yes.
bumped him up a spot. I had him 7th on my board.
Okay.
But I think that I'm being too, I would say, too what a general manager would do here. And I think that most of general manager will not take Pokuševski. But if
Probably not.
I think that between him, Killian Hayes, and Sadiq Bey, is a tight race. And I had Killian before him first.
Yeah.
Now, I would pick Killian Hayes right after Pokuševski because I know that he had a terrible rookie season, but he was ridden by injuries. And there were a few moments in the season and during Summer League when he decided to shut down a player, an NBA player on the other side, and he just did. And I think that offensively, he showed like a little of what he can do. And with Cade, I think that he can do what he does best, which is attack to some degree, and not.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to shoot very much. I know that he's dribbling right now. I heard you and Alex talking about that, and I agree 100%. But the point is, I wonder with a guy like Cade, that and with Grant, they have gravity. What happens then? Can he get a little bit more of space, and can he be a little bit more decisive with the dribble? And I'm not ready to pick anyone else here because he still has some lead guard upside. Not a lot, but some. And among the other point guards, I think that his size and his ability to be an effective defender. I mean, again, guys like Sadiq Bey, I mean, yeah, he's better. Mm-hmm. Surely better.
Yeah, he's better.
But what's the upside with Sadiq Bey? I don't know.
Yeah, I have Bey pretty high just because I can see him contributing at a high level for a contender. I guess just the path there is pretty easy for him to even be a starter. Like, I can see it. I just didn't really see a whole lot with Killian Hayes in the time that he was there. He was a mystery man largely coming into the draft. He got hurt. He did not impress me in Summer League besides a couple nice defensive stands that he had. I'm largely out on him.
Okay.
And I have him quite a bit lower on this list. Not like I was not completely outside the lottery, but like pretty low. So
he was high in my stat board, though. Weirdly enough,
was he?
Yeah, 8th.
That is high. That is really high.
So
Hayes. So we have Hayes at 7. So it was LaMelo, Edwards, Halliburton, Patrick Williams, Wiseman, Poku, Killian Hayes. Number 8, I'm going to take Sadiq Bey.
Yeah,
I think this is where I think you have to start because the upside players are mostly gone.
Yeah.
Like the high upside guys are mostly gone. So now you have to figure out, okay, now what skill levels or like what skill sets are left of players that have the potential to be high level starters. Well, Sadiq Bey is the first guy I turn to. I'm like, okay, like shooter, defender, toughness, provides all of that. Give me Sadiq Bey because he's somebody that think about Jay Crowder and how valuable he's been.
Yeah, he may be better. Sadiq may be.
I was just about to say
better.
that. I think Sadiq has a chance to do what Jay Crowder does, but actually shoot the ball well consistently.
Consistently, that is the key. Yeah. Yes, I completely agree with this analysis, and I have him there at number 8. He was 7th in my stat profile. And again, I had him much higher than 19th in my board, or at least I hope I did, because I was pretty high on Sadiq Bey. So
you had Sadiq Bey at 16th.
Okay, so not much higher. I thought 13.
I had him at 14.
You are doing so much better at this. I'm humiliated. Yeah, and with the same logic, basically, I have quickly right after.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Oh yes, because he was 5th in the stat board, and he's good. He can ball. He can create. He
Yeah.
can create his own shot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really a great point guard. He
Uh,
doesn't really create for others, but
uh,
he's a guy who played for Tips, and he can create his own shot. That
mm-hmm.
tells me a lot about how impactful he can be on a decent team as a rookie. And maybe the upside is not so great. I agree, but I mean, I want to bank in the fact that he was able to play a role very well, and he
Yeah.
was productive and efficient. I mean, the efficiency was very high for
Mm-hmm.
him. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm much lower on quickly than you are.
great. Why?
I have a hard time seeing it translate to a really good team, like
The Knicks were good.
a starting level player on a good team. I just have a hard time seeing it.
Uh, Same, but I see him as a 6 man on a good team.
Yeah, sure. And I'm just lower. I just think that there's more starters in this class.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it. 10. So you have quickly at 9. I'm going to take Tyrese Maxey at 10.
I see.
Um,
Okay.
the efficiency was not there with Maxey last year
No.
with the 76ers.
Mm-hmm.
But the size that he provides and the creation ability that he does have, it's not impossible to see him as a lead guard at some point in the NBA. And you weren't high on him at the draft either. I was much higher on him at the draft too, which is part of my evaluation here.
Okay.
Is that I really liked him at the draft. He contributed to the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. And I also think the Sixers are going to be willing to do some deals for Ben Simmons based on the expectations for Tyrese Maxey. There's some stuff there, and those are some of the reasons why I'm that high on him. Let me see where I had him. Not that high on him. I was high on him, but not as high as I thought I was. I had him 20, and you were much higher on him at the draft. I don't know why I always thought I was much higher on him at the draft.
Are you sure that
you
were reading your column and not mine?
I'm very sure.
Okay.
I'm looking at it. You had him 13th on your board.
Wow. What am I doing?
What was I doing?
What was I doing?
I don't know what I was doing at the time either, because I don't know. I liked him a lot at the time. But
okay, I'll fact check Andrew on this list. I'll search it on my computer as well.
I'm looking at it. We have it posted on the Dream Team site.
Wow, you posted it though.
You think I doctored these up? You think I'm Chad forwarding this?
Yes, you are. You're trying to make me look foolish or drunk.
No, Maxey that high I think is very smart. It's a very talented thing of you to do.
Well, I have him a bit. We're around that number right now.
Okay.
I see why. I still struggle with efficiency, and it was so bad.
Sure.
And the stats profile was not so great for him, so I bumped him up from his draft slot, but not a lot. He was 17th on my board in terms of stat profile.
Okay.
Like Cole Anthony is number 4. Like 4. Anyway,
that's
here is where I say, well, I'm willing to give this guy another season.
Okay.
And so I'm picking Isaac Okoro.
Oh, okay.
Here.
Yeah.
Because he was high on my board, apparently.
On both of our boards.
Yes. And Cleveland is Cleveland. And
yeah,
I mean, He's a very good defender.
He was 3 for both of us, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so to me, it makes sense to take a swing. To take a swing because, I mean, like, he's still a wing. So if I have to take a swing, it's better for me to take it on a wing compared to a big man. And maybe I can see it Maxi, which is on the top of the non-star point guard list that I have, and that starts in a bit. But still, a wing that has size that can defend, to me, I'm willing to give him another year. The stat profile to me is not so bad. He's 12, mainly because he's ranking very high in this class in terms of defensive metrics, like steals, blocks, rebounds, defensive win shares. He has a high defensive win share with Cleveland. That should count for something.
Absolutely, it should count for something.
So there's that. And again, if you ask me today, do you want to bet that he's a starter for the next 5 years? Probably not. But if he becomes one, then he can be a very good one. Like, if everything pans out for him, he's a very, very good player. If not, he's probably a rotation, like a Stanley Johnson kind of guy, who stays in the league but doesn't stick. And so
he's already a better defender than Stanley Johnson, though.
He is. But he, like, Stanley Johnson, projected to be a.
Oh yeah. Uh-oh. Michele, are you there? He's frozen. Is it me frozen or is it him frozen?
It's me. It's because I mentioned Stanley Johnson being a good defender.
Yeah,
and so my connection refused to agree with me and punished me immediately.
Yeah, that is absolutely your fault.
Yes.
So before we go to number 12, another surprise player, maybe a player that you don't have, maybe a player that you're not quite as high on. Before we get to that player, let's take a quick break. And we're back from that quick break. Number 12.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
You have Jaden McDaniels there.
Wow, you read my mind. Yeah, I'm pretty high on McDaniels. I'm horrified of him. I was horrified of him at the draft. But he kind of fits into this mold of, okay, now that the high upside guys are gone, who can contribute in a meaningful way, right? I had Okoro in this range. I have Okongwu in this range. I've got several other players in this range. Jaden McDaniels, just because of the physical profile that he has, it's unique compared to everybody else in this draft.
Yes.
His length, his athleticism. He's got a little bit of creation ability that's there, but I don't trust it. But if he's a guy that can defend multiple positions, hit a three, he will play in this league for a long time.
Yes.
And I'm also very swayed on him because someone who watched him all last year, and John Krasinski, is like super duper high on him. And that honestly it shook me a little bit. I really like what he did last year. And again, like, you go and look at the stats, like just the raw stats of these players, like 6 points, 3.7 boards, like 1 assist, 1 block, half a steal. It's not much. There's not much there to work with, but he did shoot 36% on 3 attempts per game. And if he is that, plus what he can be as an upside defender, he turns 21 here at the end of this month, so he's not like incredible. Like, he's young, but he's not like
Poku not crazy young.
But I like the profile of player just because, like, 6'9", long arms, athletic, can hit a corner three. All right, you're in the mix. Like, get in here, because there's some guys in here that don't have quite that profile, or maybe they do, but they don't have the size and the length that he has compared to some other guys in this group. So that's why I have him here.
I don't despise this choice, but it's not mine.
Yeah.
I have him 20th on my board.
Oh wow. Yeah, we are far apart on the Jaden McDaniels experience.
Yes, and I made I thought about it, and then I said, would you pick him or Okongwu, who had zero chance to? Clearly, this is not a projection on like their teams.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that is, of course, because we are evaluating where they are now, knowing where they are now. But to me, Okongwu has a chance to be a better player than Jaden McDaniels. There's nothing in this season that told me, well, I had him 5th on my board. He's bad in the stats profile just because he didn't play.
But didn't have the opportunity, which
exactly
is concerning to a degree.
It is concerning a bit.
He had injury stuff too. So I mean, it's just he is such a tough one to evaluate, and he got pushed down my board just because we didn't see him.
Yeah, and it is fair. I pushed Obi Toppin down there, pretty far down because of that.
Yeah.
But he had, like, his calling card was production, and he didn't produce. Okongwu was a project. Also, production was a thing that we were kind of sure that it could be a productive big man, but he just had a crazy good season of a player that was in front of him. Capella had an amazing season. He was
probably top 7 center in the league.
Yes, I completely agree. And so I have him and Isaiah Stewart in like one after the other for very different reasons. But in the end, I said, well, I still like the idea of Okongwu a little bit more. And there are data points in many different competitions that says he's a tough guy. So maybe he's a talented guy. Maybe next year that will be better. So it's Okongwu for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. I had Okongwu. In our redraft, he's going 13th. I had him 10th on my redraft board. So, I like him. I like him a lot. Everyone needs a smile. Says, did they pick Beef Stew yet? We have not, but he's going right here. This is where I'm drafting Isaiah Stewart at 14th.
Great. Yes.
He was just like flat out a nice player for the Pistons in a really bad year. He was really pretty good for them.
Yes.
Didn't take a lot of threes, but took enough that made you say, huh, okay. Well, that might be there for him. Only 33%. He was 21 of 63 on the season. So does that tell you a lot? Doesn't tell me a whole lot, but he could possibly.
He's willing.
Yeah, he's willing to take the
them.
shot.
Yeah.
More than we can say about guys like Steven Adams. Like, how many years do we talk about Steven Adams taking threes?
Yeah, don't go there. I'm happy. I'm in a good mood. Don't go there.
You know what I mean though? Like, he's like right out the gate, Beef Stew's taking threes. Great.
Yes.
And I'll take that. And I think that one thing that's holding him back from being a lot higher in this class, like if he were 7 feet, like give me him over Wiseman at this point, because like he's actually good.
Yeah, but not even at this point. Like during draft night, if he's 7 feet tall instead of 6'8" and change, I mean that changes the equation.
It changes everything because he's young. He's really young. He's 20.
Yes,
and doesn't turn 21 until May. So he's 2001. So that's meaningful. That means that there's some more stuff there. And if you just ask people that watched a lot of high school ball, they'll tell you about Isaiah Stewart. What they'll tell you about Isaiah Stewart is that he dominated everybody.
Yeah.
And that he played against some of these well-known players in this class, and he was better than all of them at that level. Now, will that continue to translate? I don't know. But to me, I think he's shown enough to where you can say, like, could he be a starting level player on a championship level team, like depending on the team, yes. But
Mm-hmm.
could he be a contributor? Absolutely, absolutely, he can.
Yeah, we'll see about hips mobility and how much he will be asked to do switching against guards, because that is also a part that we have yet to see from him.
Yeah,
Because even if he's not tall enough, he's strong, so eventually he will be able to play against one-on-one against good centers and do something. The point is, can he be a versatile defender? Because if he is, and he's willing to take shots, then why not? And again, I have him 12th on my board. So
yeah,
I completely agree. So last before the barrage of point guards on my board, it's Denny Avdia
yeah.
for me.
Yep.
No statistical evidence, a few nice moments,
None.
ton of potential still.
Yeah,
And I mean, I wanted to put him after this barrage of point guards, but then I said,
yeah.
do I really pick him before Cole Anthony or Theo Maledon, or no? I mean, if they ask you today, would you trade Theo Maledon for Denny Avdia?
Yes.
Yes, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Kira Lewis.
Yeah. Yes.
Precious Achua.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. To me, he provides versatility from the forward spot that I don't know, like who else in this class can do that. That's left. Really nobody, right? So, will he be the best of this bunch?
No.
It's unlikely. But does he provide something that all the other guys don't? That's more difficult to find. I'll just say that. Like it's harder to find a player that can do what Denny does than it is to go find
Kyra Lewis Jr.
Yeah, or Malachi Flynn or
Yeah.
whoever. So yeah, I don't disagree there. Okay. So the next player I have, this is where at 16, I'll take Devin Vassell.
Oh, okay.
Just another classic shooter, defender. Could potentially be a high level defender at the NBA level.
Maybe.
You wish he was 6'7", but he's only 6'5". One of the reasons that he didn't go that high. He's already 21. That's another thing. And he didn't shoot the ball like you would have wanted him to in his rookie season. Was his true shooting. He's 40% from the field. Like, it's just like, like that's not, 52% true shooting. It's like, okay, if you're a shooter, like that doesn't really cut it, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He didn't play a tremendous amount for the Spurs, which you could also you could say it's a red flag. I don't know. He played 1,000 minutes for them, and hopefully he'll play more. But I'll take a risk on a guy that I think can profile as a high level defender, good catch and shoot type of guy. But I'm not in love with him.
Same, and I have him a little bit lower. Before I have my 17th pick, which is Cole Anthony.
Talk me into it.
No, there's nothing to talk about, really. He's the only guy that can take pull-ups at will that is still on the board.
Sure.
That's it. And he's... Yeah. I mean, I have him, Maledon, and Kyrgios, one after the other. I think that this is the pecking order as of today between the point guard that are probably bench players and that maybe can blossom into something if the surrounding are good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. There are other players I would like to have other than Cole Anthony.
I mean, yes, if I play a basketball game tomorrow to win it, yes, I would take many others, like Xavier Tillman, for example.
I love Xavier Tillman.
Me
Love
too.
Xavier Tillman.
But I can shake the fact that Cole Anthony is still young and has crazy good potential in terms of pull-up threat, being a pull-up threat. So,
yeah, sure. I didn't have him in my top 20, but that does exist. The pull-up does exist. I just don't know if he can provide anything for you on the other end, and if that pull-up is valuable enough for that not to matter. Like the pull-up, and this is like a similar argument that we're going to have to make for Trey Mann.
Exactly. I was thinking about the same. Yes.
Because the reason that you take Trey Mann at 18 in the draft is because of the pull-up 3.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's it. Just similar to your Cole Anthony argument. And the good thing about him versus Cole is that Trey's got he's got size for the position that Cole doesn't have, where it makes everything a lot harder for him to even make any kind of impact on the defensive end. Like Trey is a lot skinnier. He's not as thick as Cole is, but you can, you just get bigger as you get older. And if Trey can figure out some stuff on the defensive end and can hit that pull up, then it's valuable enough. At 18, I'm going to take Desmond Bane.
Boring.
Boring, but I think part of the reason that the Grizzlies made some of the moves that they did this offseason was because of the belief in Desmond Bane. Yeah. And he's a contributor right away. I think you can plug him into almost every team in the league, and they say, "Yep, we have a spot for him." And he's got maybe a little bit more juice off the bounce than I thought he might at the NBA level. It's not a lot, but it's at least some. And he's just tough as nails. Like going to be in the league for a long time, more than likely. So it's similar to my Vassell take. He just has shorter arms than Vassell. So that is literally the reason that I differentiated between the two. Bane had a much better rookie season than Vassell.
Yes.
But I'm not going to base everything off of how they played in their rookie year. I just can't.
Well, you should. They are old.
They're older. Yeah. I mean, Bane's 23. Like Bane is, if you locked him in, but I mean, the thing about him is compared to a lot of these other guys, and this is where I had to weigh the production at some point. He took 271 threes his rookie season and hit 43%.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Like, okay, I'll take that. 60% true shooting.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, I'll take it. Even if he got short arms, like I'll take it. And he's 6'5", and I know that Vassell shot the ball much, much worse. I had Vassell had a much higher grade before the draft than Bane did for me. And so I have to factor that in somewhere. But I have those guys like in lockstep on my next board, on my board that I created over the past couple of days. So,
by the way, I keep bumping down Obi Toppin.
Yeah, for good reason.
I had him right here, but I said doesn't look.
What is he like? That's the question I have, because I don't have with almost everybody else. I don't have a lot of questions as to what they are besides Cole Anthony. Everybody else, I can see what you are. What's the and Obi was really nice in summer league, but this is summer league. Of course, he's going to be able to do that kind of stuff against these bad players. Like he has to, if he didn't, then it would just be like, man, then really, what are you? Because he's supposed to be like Amare or somebody like that.
Yeah.
Like that's what people thought he was. And he's not as high level of a creator.
No.
He's just not big enough too, is kind of one of the problems for him. And so
it was extremely disappointing.
I actually have him in this range in my mock. I have him in this range, but I don't know. Like, are you taking him at 19?
No.
Okay. Who
I
you
would
got?
probably go Theo here,
Okay.
to be honest with you. I
Okay.
think that Theo was bad
It was
for
bad.
long stretches of this season. But,
He was.
we focused on the crazy high moments of Pokuševski.
Yeah.
If you look at the game in Portland, for example, for Theo, that was a great game where it was aggressive. It was like taking pull-up trees, making pull-up trees.
Yeah.
I wonder. I wonder if there is enough aggressiveness on him that he could do that every single night. And today the answer is no. But he also was okay, surprisingly okay, surprisingly steady.
Mm-hmm.
There is value on that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are picking around the 20, I think that you can say, well, he was the starting point guard for a team, and he wasn't terrible. The team was terrible. Don't get me
The team
wrong.
was terrible. Yeah.
But he had Moses Brown. Like, that should count for something.
Yeah.
Like a guy that couldn't set screens for real, couldn't provide vertical spacing, nor like spacing in general. He was playing with Tech, Dort, which was great. Two very good players. But then, what else?
Yeah.
Paisley was not like a functional NBA player for most of the season. He had his heights.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's hard to play the point in a. He's an organized guy, and so I don't know.
What is he? What is he to you? At the let's say 5 years from now, what is Teo? Like, what do you think he is?
He is a lesser version of George Hill, if everything goes well.
He's got to shoot it, though.
Oh, he will shoot it.
Like, has to shoot it.
Oh, I think he will. I think that with the task of being the number one lead guard, especially without Lou, he took a lot of bad shots.
Yeah.
And with better shot selection, I think that the percentage will go higher. George Hill is a good shooter, but if you ask him to take threes out of a pick and roll or like pull-ups, then you will see that he's not like a 40% shooter.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely not.
Yeah. I just need to see it with him.
Yeah. But we saw a lot of production. He's 6th on the overall statistical profile. Yeah. Because he had crazy high usage.
He took shots.
Yeah. But also assists. And he wasn't so bad in terms of defense.
He's not so bad. Yeah, he's not so bad. He's strong. Like, he's really strong.
Yeah. And I think that we have a lot of bias because of how he played in Summer League. But I can't shake the fact that I think that he plays he's not a guy that you will say, wow, like a Pokuševski. He's a guy that is steady, very steady.
Yeah.
It's more Mike Conley than Russell Westbrook. He's not either. Like, he's much worse. But in terms of type of player, he plays at his own pace.
He does. I'm trying to guard a little bit with him, like, not overrating him.
No,
because I watched every one of his games, and I did see the good in him, and I saw the bad.
Yes.
And I just think about some other guards in this class, and I just wonder how many people that watch the Celtics would have him above Peyton Pritchard.
Not many. I have them in the same tier.
Yeah. Like, how many would have him above RJ Hampton?
Many.
Okay. How many would have him above Malachi Flynn?
Also many.
I like Malachi's creation abilities more.
Okay. But he's old. He's older.
He is old.
And they had, like, Theo played a lot.
Theo played a lot. It's true. Out of necessity. But yeah,
out of necessity, he was like, he's not easy to play point guard. In a team that, like, point guard, if you are not like a score first guard, which he is not.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not. So the arguments in favor of Theo, there's a lot of them actually that you can make. You can say he's one of the youngest players in this class.
Mm-hmm.
You can say he is speaking a language that's not his own in a country that's not his own during a pandemic. Like all the same excuses and stuff that we get for Poku, like he gets the same. Like he gets all of them because of that. So yeah, I think there is more upside with him. I'm not saying that I think that you're wrong. I'm just trying to
Thank
make
you.
sure. I'm trying to make sure that we're guarded against bias here because I don't even know that I guard it. I don't even know that I have the ability to guard myself against the bias I have for Poku. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I bumped him down also because of that, Pokushevsky.
Yeah.
But with Theo, I mean, he was sixth on my board in terms of stats. That is, he was in
That's
the same
something.
range as Quickly.
Yeah.
He was better than
And I like
Sadiq
him better
Bey.
than there's a lot of things I like about him better than Quickly. Like Teo can create for others. Teo can hold up on the defensive end. Teo can do lots of stuff. But to me, like unless he makes a big leap in the next couple years, he will likely be a backup point guard. You know?
Yeah.
And that's like the same for these other guys. Like Pritchard shot the lights out last year for the Celtics. You know, he shot 41% from three. And he was pretty good. He played a lot for them too. He played 1,200 minutes last year for the Celtics. He did not lead the team in minutes like Teo did for the Thunder. But I don't hate that at 19. I don't hate that.
I
I
have
might. Oh yeah, go ahead.
no. I mean, I have Pritchard very high on 3-point attempts and true shooting.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Full stop. He's so small.
Yeah,
He's so small.
Yeah, he's not very good in taking pull-ups, for example.
Yeah.
He's okay in assists, but not very good. Not as good as Maladon. So I get the allure with Pritchard, but he's small. He's small.
And he's 23.
Yeah.
He's what is he? He's 3 years older than Teo. So, like, what will Teo be in 3 years versus what will Pritchard be in 3 years? Like, Pritchard will likely just be who he is in 3 years.
Yeah, maybe he becomes Caruso, like a guy like that.
Teo?
Both.
Yeah.
Both can be guys that are scrappy. I see Pritchard being scrappy, being just a guy that, I don't know,
TJ,
guy.
like TJ McConnell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Small, white guy that has to scrap to stay in the league because he's not athletic enough.
Not as athletic, yes. I'm not sure about like how good he is in terms of IQ, in terms of like being able to really create. Pritchard, he's okay, but he's not like. I think that Maladon has better point guard skills.
Definitely. Definitely he does. He does. And he's got better size. And also he had better teammates last year. Pritchard did.
Oh yeah.
That had gravity. Where Teo after SGA went down, I mean, Teo lost not only SGA, Teo lost Horford.
Yes.
And those were two like pretty big planets in the Thunder solar system, right? That were taking
Hill.
up, and George Hill. They traded Hill.
And Kenrich played much less.
He did.
Like,
Kenrich
and not
and
with him.
Muscala. Like this, not like all your spacing's gone. So like the stat profile for him is, it's just a weird one. It's just a weird one. And I've gotten a lot of people have been upset with the way I've evaluated Teo over this offseason. And it's fair to question the way that I've done it. It's very fair to question it. I don't back down from anything that I've said, but it's fair to question it. And he has a lot of questions to answer this season.
Yeah.
He did not impress in Summer League.
No, he didn't.
And so I just need to see it. And perhaps with better players around him, he'll play better. He seems to be that type of player, but he's also very, very young and needs to develop. So totally fine. So we can end at 20 here, and then we'll recap real quick. Who would I take at 20? I've got I still have Obi Toppin on this list. I don't really want to put him here.
No, let's put Xavier. Come on.
I like Xavier. I like Precious. I just don't. I don't know. I still like. I don't love the upside of either one of those guys.
Mm-hmm. Who's the guy who's the best upside left on your board?
RJ.
But does he have upside?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he does.
Okay.
I'll take RJ Hampton here.
Wow.
He's 6'4". He's fast. He's young. He's 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be able to shoot the ball better than he did. 32% from three. I know. If he gets that to work, which I hate that he ended up in Orlando because I have littler faith that he'll make it there than he would have in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he can make it, but he was willing to take threes, which I think is good.
Mm-hmm.
There are players of his profile that are unwilling to take threes, and it's bad for them. He has some creation ability out of the pick and roll that I like in him, and he just has a speed gear that no one else left in this draft has.
Fair.
And so just because of that, like the ability to get out on the break, where like Precious Achiuwa, like I like him, but you can go find a backup big.
Yeah.
You can do that. Like Obi Toppin, like I'm sorry, like I'm just not willing to. I don't see the upside that's there with him. Another guy I would have considered here, Aaron Nesmith, who can really shoot it from the wing. He looked really good in summer league in spots.
Yeah.
I still really like him. So he was somebody that I considered in this spot.
Kira Lewis, have you considered him?
Yeah, I mean for similar reasons, right? Like and maybe he's even faster.
Yeah.
Than but yeah, he's smaller. Not that much smaller, but a little bit smaller than RJ is. Yeah, I would consider Kira Lewis here. Kira,
maybe, I don't know.
I think it is Kyra because I'm trying to think of how my guy in New Orleans says it, and it is Kyra. So, yeah, that's fine. I don't know what to think of him, and I've kind of put him and RJ Hampton in the same bucket. Where it's like lightning quick guards that have some creation ability that weren't very good in their first year.
Yeah.
You could interchange them. Like it's not going to hurt my feelings to put Kyra here or RJ here at all.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And it's hard. It's probably too early, way too early to redraft.
It's absolutely way too early to redraft. It's absolutely way too early. Where do you put Vic Krejci on your list? Oh my gosh, I think he froze. I think that's a perfect place to end because that's the only response that you can truly give is a frozen Michele. So that's where we'll end. Thanks so much for listening to our pod. If you enjoyed this or you think that we have the dumbest list you've ever heard of, let us know. You can comment on the post on Down to Dunk. You can add us personally on Twitter at Mikey Berra, at Andrew K. Schlecht. Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back on Wednesday. We're getting close to Media Day. It's kind of hard to believe, but it will be here soon. We'll be able to do some pretty fun stuff as long as the COVID restrictions don't keep us from doing that fun stuff. So stay tuned for all that stuff. Hope you guys have a great day. And we'll talk to you guys again on Wednesday.